going with that. Let's hit the go live on YouTube, and we are live. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Can I share this on YouTube yet? Or Facebook? Social medias. Hey, hello everyone. My name is Jay, and you're listening to, and possibly watching, the Skeleton Crew brand podcast. Did you hear how wheezy I was? Ugh. Been outside a lot. Yeah. Didn't really plan for anything here. Let me share this. Let's see if we can get some people watching and interacting. Right? Maybe that's not the way to do it. Let's try it out. Let's see. We'll turn down the volume though, just in case. Maybe. Ooh. All right. So we're going to start over on the recording the podcast part because that didn't work out very well. GarageBand crashed on me. So the YouTube folk are going to get a little something extra. That should, yeah. But then again, the podcast people get a little something extra too, because I'm allowed to play music on my podcast for like iTunes and stuff, but YouTube won't allow it. All right, let's see. Yo. Doing a hashtag live stream of the at Skeleton Crew brand damn it, Skeleton, there we are, brand, Skeleton Crew brand, hashtag podcast at, go to the link, bingo, and then I say always something like, watch. Woo. Okay. There we go. Copy. Post it. And share it to the Skeleton Crew page. Like so. Voila. And this one I can just hashtag Skeleton Crew brand because it's on the Skeleton Crew brand page. Tagging it won't make a whole lot of sense, right? What I think. Okay, let's go back here. Hey, there I am still. All right. Is anybody watching this? No, get away from that. There we go. No, nobody's watching for the first 3 minutes. So go back to GarageBand, hide my dumb face, and we start from the beginning and not confuse GarageBand, because GarageBand apparently gets very confused. So for the people listening on their smartphone or computer, website or whatever, we'll do this and go. Boom. Welcome, everyone, to the Skeleton Crew brand podcast. My name is Jay Leal, and I do SkeletonCrewBrand.com, and that is Skeleton Crew, C-R-U-E, spelled the Motley way. I don't know what this in my throat is right now. Hold on. Oh, jeez, I just can't get rid of it. I had some coffee. Does coffee do that? Does coffee make you all googly, gurgly, groggly? No, coffee is the anti-groggly. So for those of you listening, you missed about 4 minutes of show that you can go over to my Rev J Leal YouTube page and watch and see what you missed. It wasn't anything exciting. Nobody was watching live either. during that time. So maybe I can cut it out. I probably won't. So what's up, everybody? It's been a busy few days. Jesus. This is the third podcast in 3 days that I'm doing. Field Mouse and I did a Comic Crypt on Wednesday. Kind of a weird day for us to Comic Crypt, but hey, we did it anyway. It was good. Much more lively than the previous episode, but that previous episode, I was just not feeling it. It's dealing with some website issues. Go back and listen if you want to the last episode, the most recent Skeleton Crew brand podcast, not this one, but episode 26, to get the gist. So that had me in a sour mood last week for Comic Crypt, but this week I came strong, and Field Mouse and I were really funny. And I'm going to tell you something secretly. We smoked. And I might have had a little bit of an edible before. So that's why I was a little more lively, right? Cannabis really, really does wonders when you're trying to be a goofball. And it's coming, I don't know. Does Comic Crypt need cannabis? No, I don't think we need it because we did it so many years not. I am 100% guilty for making Field Mouse a stoner. He's not even like a stoner, but I'm proud. I'm proud of him with how far he's come with his intake ability. Ryan Horn, Mike Beasley, and Leon are texting about the 30th anniversary of Beetlejuice. That's what's happening there. I feel like such a bad friend. I'm such a bad text backer. I'm trying really hard to text people back. So if in the past I've been shitty and not text you back, just know it's something that I'm really trying hard to be a better friend with, and I'll text you back. Yeah, I'm doing fairly well right now. Not with Ryan and Mike. I still don't text them back as often as I should, but man, they get going. Like, as somebody with a 2-year-old, just about 2-year-old, he'll be 2 on April 18th. So somebody with a 2-year-old, by the time I'm able to look at my phone to see my text notifications, Mike and Ryan have had at least 37 text exchanges between them. And that's a lot to keep up with. And by the time my dyslexic ass reads through the thread and gets to the point where I can add to the conversation, they've stopped talking. Again, with the water, this is going to be a heavy water episode, guys. I don't know why. I spend a lot of time outside. That could be the loginess. I have a fence now. Yeah, Tiffany's dad fenced in the backyard. Kind of. Not a massive fence, but I didn't want my fence to reach. I'm looking out my window, by the way, for those of you watching on YouTube, because I'm not just looking at a wall and pointing. There's a window right here. I would turn my computer, but I think too many things potentially could go wrong if I attempted that. Yeah, so maybe I'll take a picture. Yeah, I'll take a picture and I'll post it on the Leal Legacy Instagram, right? Doesn't have my address or anything. I don't give a fuck. Anyhow, if you ordered something from Skeleton Crew, you likely have my address anyway. Don't come to my house without first letting me know, because then I can, prepare. I got pit bulls. So anyhow, I've been holding my arm in a long time. I didn't want my fence to reach the edge of my yard, like to the sidewalk. A, because I think it's kind of trashy. B, because I have pit bulls. C, I don't know, why am I counting numbers on my hand, but I'm using letters like verbally, whatever. Bane will be out there, so I would hate it if he found a way to get out, or if like some sketcho came, because it's a 4-foot tall fence, so I wouldn't want somebody to like some creepo walk by and like try to snatch him. I mean, yeah, we're not ever out there without the dogs, so they would make a racket, and I don't want to like because it also connects to our back door, which is our laundry room. So if I had to step inside, maybe to like put up one of his toys or go grab one of his toys for him or something, and in that time, if we were connected to the sidewalk, yeah, that's way too much distance, and Bane would be way too close to the potential of strangers for us to put the fence out that far. So it's nice and tight to the house. It comes off a fairly good ways off the house. It's enough room for the dogs to run around and Bane to run around while comfortably having a nice loungy sort of setup out there. And I don't know, you'll see. I'll take a picture and you'll see. And if we're like actual personal friends, you can come over and you can hang out back there. I got like a swing, like a chair swing for adults, but Bane loves to sit on it too, and I freak out that he's gonna slip and crack his face. Like thankfully, out of my trinity, my trifecta of children, only one of them has had issues with face smashing. Yeah. I love you, Boo. My little Arabella. But your mother and I sometimes think you have a magnet built into your face that just you in the ground for a while, man. She busted out her like all of her front teeth. And not just in one fall either. She had fallen multiple times and cracked multiple teeth to the point where the dentist was like, look, they're baby teeth. They're going to pop out anyway. She seems to have an affinity for smashing her face into the ground. So yeah, she's going to be toothless for a little bit. But you know what? She was still the most beautiful little girl you've ever seen in your life. And if you try to say otherwise, I'll cut out your eyes. I'm sorry, protective father. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, you can come over. You can come over and hang. We've got a fire pit, some other chairs, a grill. So if you like pit bulls and babies, well, toddler, come hang. Come hang. Maybe we'll do a podcast outside. No, probably not. People I need to have come over and podcast. There's a long and ever-growing list, and I don't know why some of us can't coordinate. Ryan Rado. Have you looked at Ryan Rado? I have a friend named Ryan Rado. Great fucking friend. Probably one of the people I respect most on this planet. He is an artist here in Nashville. And he's one of those fucking artists. He does that kind of art where you look at it and you're like, this is phenomenally just incredible. And I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely one of those, like, I'm going to splatter paint all over a canvas seemingly recklessly and somehow produce a masterpiece. That's Rado, man. That's what Rado's got. That's what he's working with. And it's phenomenally, there we go, impressive. And I want to get him on the show just to chat. I love talking to Rado. I love hanging out with Rado, but he lives outside of Nashville. So he also doesn't, I don't know if I want to speak for him, but I don't believe he enjoys driving. He lives with Tourette's. And I know for a while there, it was extreme enough to where he was like, look, I don't want to drive because my body does things that I'm not necessarily completely in control of. And when you're operating a vehicle, it's probably a good idea to be in control of your body entirely. So I got it. I get it. I don't know, because like recently he and I are like, we've dumbed ourselves down to really only exchanging pleasantries over social media. Well, obviously if we see each other and stuff, it's, we don't ignore one another. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to that whole texting thing, because I don't think he's a very good texter either. So when you got two people who aren't very good texters, shit falls apart. And what are you going to do? So that's happened. Got a fence in the backyard. And then, I don't know, it's just been a lot of like home remodeling and stuff. Like, so what else happened? We're redoing the kitchen floors. I don't know. Lots of painting. We're painting our house. I think that's it. Maybe that's not that much. I don't know. It is kind of, but we got a fence. We built a fence. I fixed a leak on the roof. Did I tell you guys that? I climbed on my roof and fixed a leak. I'm not really the kind of guy who does a lot of man shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a very handy, capable. Wait, that's not what I wanted to say. I'm not a very handy, I'm not capable of being a handyman. That's probably the best way to word that. I didn't have that kind of upbringing, like, at all. Like, I had no male role model in my life as a child that was like a Mr. Fix-It kind of thing for like stuff. You know what I mean? My Uncle Neal, who was probably, you know, one of them. He and my grandfather were like the two dudes in my family that I looked up to most. And my Uncle Neal is like an electronics wizard. There was a time where he and I started building a robot in my youth. That never came to be, though, for a number of reasons that we'll get into later on when we do another Leal Origins episode. And then my grandfather, like, okay, so both of them can do basic man shit. You know what I mean? Like, my uncle bought a house when I was younger, and I went over to help him like rip up flooring and knock out a wall and stuff like that. So he knew what he was doing, kind of like, but he's the kind of guy who likes to look something up and then execute it. I'm the kind of person that looks something up, sees a bunch of text on how to do something, and I was like, ugh, I'm not gonna read all this. This is stupid. I don't want to do it anymore. And then I kind of guess on how to do it, and it might work out, it might not. Thank God for YouTube. Now there's like YouTube videos on how to fix shit and everything, so I don't have to read instructions. I'm a visual and auditory learner, so it's much better nowadays. But, yeah, there were never really any projects of like, you know, or maybe I just didn't do them. I don't know what I'm trying to say, because I think I recall my grandmother actually did a lot of painting and stuff around the house. Like, she is still a 80-something-year-old badass. I think she's gonna be like 86 next year. I think she just turned 85, and she still does all that shit, like gardening and, things around the house. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It makes me feel horribly lazy. But so not having a father figure that was really kind of worth anything, he was very rarely around, and then was a shady Portuguese pirate kind of guy. Didn't learn a lot of like how-tos from him. So once my like preteen and teenage years rolled around, and the majority of male role models that I had in my life were all kind of like criminals. So if you need me to fix something around the house, it's unlikely that I'll be able to do it. Now, if you need me to break into a house, I'm your guy, right? If you need work done on a car that was built after 1965, if you need help, if anything, regarding a car pre-1965, I got you. I can help. But anything like beyond that, when they started putting the computers and shit in the cars, I'm like, no. I can help you steal one of those cars, but I won't be able to help you fix it afterwards. That's just not me. I grew up around old like greaser dudes, and obviously they're gearheads, but it's all classic cars. It's all classic cars. Before there was more than just like an engine. You know what I mean? Like, there was no fucking cruise control or power steering for that matter. Like, I don't know any of this shit. Where's the engine? And then there we are. All right. Headlight, sure. Taillight, absolutely. But your AC went out? Fuck you. The lights in your dash are weird. Nah, no. The robot in your car is saying check your engine, so you better go do that. Go find another robot to help you with that, because I'm not a robot yet. So, yeah, I make a fantastic criminal, but a pretty shitty man. And I'm okay with that. That's who I am, you know? Different strokes for different folks. That was a really good show. I watched a lot of Different Strokes when I was younger. High school, like sophomore year, over the summer. I can only pinpoint the time period because I recall who I was dating then. It's like my first major girlfriend. And she worked down the street from my grandmother's house at a job that my Aunt Gina had helped her get. So on her lunch breaks and stuff, she'd cruise over, and it was like her lunch break happened to be right when the 3 or 4 episodes of Different Strokes ended. So yeah, that's how I spent my time. I'd wake up, watch some Different Strokes, eat some breakfast. Oh, hey, it's her lunchtime. Cool. Hang out with her for a bit. And then I'd go skate down to the beach or something. Man, life was so much easier back then. Isn't it weird, like being a teenager and you're like, oh, life is so hard and complicated. But you know what? When I'm an adult, I'll have it all figured out. No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So if you're youthful and you're looking towards the future and you think, you know, it's going to get better, it does get better. But you got to fight for it, man. You really got to fight for it. Get the shit you want. Do the things you want to do. Because really, especially now in this day and age, the only person standing in front of anyone anymore is themselves. Because there are just ridiculous options and opportunities at everyone's fingertips. Like, if you have a smartphone, you're a million miles ahead of anybody in like the early 2000s. Let's just keep it that close, okay? Before the invention of the smartphone. Ooh, damn, son, I'm sorry. See, I wiped my nose with my hand and I smacked the mic and it got all fucking crazy. Anyhow, but yeah, no, before fucking smartphones, before social media, before all this nonsense, it's hard, man. It's challenging to get things accomplished. But now, yeah, there's internet connection in every smartphone and a camera and just countless apps and avenues to do anything and everything you want to do, at least on a digital medium. But then even if like it's something else, if you want to build something, like create anything, I'm sure there are tutorials that you can find just on YouTube. You don't pay shit for YouTube. It's all free. So get off your ass and go do it. Okay? Just do it. It's going to suck. It's going to be hard. But if you're passionate about it, you're able to ignore those things. Huh? Right? That's been my experience. Things, man, can I tell you how many times I've failed at everything? Like Skeleton Crew? Come on. Some of you out there have been around since like Skeleton Crew's first inception back in, realistically, like 2011, yeah. And then there were highs, and then a devastating low, and then a few more highs, kind of a lull. And then I'd say now is a high. It's a high time, right? For Skeleton Crew. We got 3 awesome podcasts, a handful of other ones. Not to say that the other podcasts are not awesome, but they're not exactly pumping out content to be awesome. So there's that. Okay, so Mixed Tag Talk is on a hiatus for, you know, however long the Beasleys decide. They had a kid recently, and trust me, I know all too well yeah. takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and you know they're still in that first year of parenthood, getting it, like finding the tricks of the trade. So they'll be back. I am positive Mixed Tag Talk will eventually be back. But I also hear that Brittany, who's on Mixed Tag Talk now on Spook Show Radio, Brittany became a little less interested in wrestling. So, I mean, when one of the co-hosts is like, I don't really care, not about the podcast, but about the content, it makes those like themed shows difficult to keep up with sometimes, because a lot of work goes into those, unless you're Comic Crypt, and then you just say whatever they get. It might be about comic books. It might be about how Fieldhouse and I have dreams that we haven't followed yet. That's what you get with Comic Crypt. You never know what it's going to be. It's fun. It's exciting. But I can tell you, the more cannabis that's involved, the better the episode. I wanted to do that one live to YouTube as well, but we don't do that one at my house. We record Comic Crypt at Field Mouse's house. So yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to not only stream live but make it sound good. So we'll have to set up his mixer and all that. I don't know. Sounds like a lot of work, but we may end up doing it. We may not. Who knows? We may end up doing it, but it might not be like this. It might be something where I use another camera and then sync up the audio, but that sounds like a lot of work too. Damn it. This is so easy because it live streams and then archives. I don't have to like really upload anything later. And, granted, the set design's not, damn it. The set design's not fantastic, but it is, oh, I should have turned that light on, huh? You think it makes a difference? Let me see. Because I might just roll over there and get the light. No, this is okay. Oh, there's a Sharpie here. It's all right. Could be worse. Should we go up a little bit? No, because then that jacks up my headroom. Okay. Because I want my lucha skeleton. Whoop. For those of you not watching the YouTube, I'm poking my lucha skeleton in the mask. I wanted my lucha skeleton to be better and frame more, but whatever. We won't worry about that. I'm going to stop looking at my face again. Hey, October Faction. Star Wars, Batman. Maybe I stopped getting Descender. I haven't gotten Descender for a while. I think I stopped picking that book up. I was just like, wait a minute, there should be more. But no, there shouldn't. Anyhow, I'm going to stop looking at my face because, GarageBand might quit on me again. What were they talking about? Podcasts. Yeah, it's a high time for Skeleton Crew. Got a bunch of shirts available. Got a Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, Patreon. It's Patreon, and then the people who, partake in the Patreonage are called Patreones. Patreonians. I got a Patreonian. Somebody finally decided to humor me or pity me, either way, and they jumped on. So that being said, I'm not going to drop last names, only because we don't need stalkers in the world. You know what I mean? Don't stalk the people I know, my friends. I decided I'm only going to be friends too with people within the Skeleton Crew brand network. So if you're not in the Skeleton Crew brand Facebook group or the Patreon or interact with me in any way, I'm never going to talk to you. Any of you. That being said, shout out to my friend and yours. You might not know her, but trust me, you're her friend. Sure, she's your friend. She might not like you, but you definitely like her. Summer, thanks. Thanks, Summer. You are officially better than everyone else not on the Patreon. Even the people who joined the Patreon now, you're still better than them because you were number one. You were the first. Though Patrick Noe. So I had another Patreon page previously, and then I deleted it because I was like, why the fuck do I want a Patreon page when I have a website? Because if people want to support, they can just go to the fucking website. Well, it would have been a lot more work to get that kind of set up. So I'm taking advantage of Patreon again. And previously on Patreon, Patrick Noe, he was our first patron there. So, he can have an asterisk next to his name. So Summer is Patreone number 1. And then underneath it says Patreone number 1 or asterisk Patreone number 1. Former asterisk former Patreone number 1, Patrick Noe. And I know, I remember now that I said I wasn't going to be dropping last names on the podcast. I'm going to respect that with Summer, but I'm not going to respect that with Patrick because Patrick, he's been on some Skeleton Crew brand podcasts previously, not the Skeleton Crew brand podcast. He and I did an episode of Geek Core, which was like the old Skeleton Crew brand podcast. Like the first, remember when I was like, damn, I am fucking this mic up today. Like, I don't know how I'm sitting any differently or what's going on. But I apologize. I'm just out of sorts, I guess. What was I saying? Damn it. Oh, we talk about, so Geek, remember when I said that there have been 4 other iterations and, Skeleton Crew brand adaptations, and there's just been a lot of trial and error, and some of that trial and error included another podcast. This podcast under a different name. It's called Geek Core. I thought I was doing like, oh yeah, it's gonna be, this is me, this is my show, this is just JB and J. It'll be whatever comes to my mind. It's not something that I'm going to like really, beat myself up over, but I will put effort into it. I'll put some effort into it, and I will absolutely give it my all. But it's not like based on wrestling like Mixed Tag Talk or comics like Comic Crypt or anything like that. It's just whatever comes out of me. That used to be Geekcore, and that's what Patrick, he guested on there with myself and Kirika. Remember Kirika? What up, Kirika? From Comic Crypt. She joined us for Comic Crypt for a while, and then she started going to school and like wanting to do great things in life and left us in the dust. So all the luck to her. No, I love Kirika. She's awesome. Maybe one day she'll pop in on comic. She's always welcome to pop in and hang. So, maybe when she graduates and all that. Is it a graduate? Yeah, I guess no matter what kind of school you stop. I don't even know what kind of school she's going to. I'm a terrible fucking friend. I told you. I'm a shit friend. Told my uncle last night that I'm a bad person. he didn't disagree with me, which is the kind of concerning part now that I think of it. I was like, yeah, man, I'm a bad person. Like, I'm a bad friend. Like, I'm just not a good person, but I accept it. And he was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. Gotta call my daughter tonight. I gotta talk to Boo later. I was so depressed last week because I didn't get to talk to Arabella. Just our schedule. She is a busy fucking kid. Our schedules didn't align, so Then the time before that, she called and her brother hung up on her. Bane was at the iPad and she was trying to FaceTime me, and Bane answered her FaceTime. And she was like, "Can I talk to Dad?" I'm trying to talk to Dad, and Bane just kind of like looked at the screen and went, and then hung up. I was like, "You're such a dick." Not even 2, and you're already being like an angsty teen with your older sister. It's whatever. Arabella, just know that if you ever feel like beating Bane up I'm not gonna involve myself. You guys figure it out. Maybe Elvis will jump in and save his brother, but I don't know. You and Elvis have known each other longer. Oh yeah, so I gotta call Boo tonight. Anyhow, I don't know what to talk about, guys. I don't know. There was something I had in mind. So I feel like I need to do some sort of format with this show. Right? Because I mean, it doesn't really like, unless you know me, does this mean anything to anyone? Does this relate to anyone who doesn't actually know me in some facet? Like if we interact on social media frequently, or we knew each other in the past, or what? I don't know if there's anyone who just like started listening by happenstance to this podcast, to this one specifically, and was like, yeah, I like this. I like listening to this asshole for like an hour. Don't know him, never met him. The fuck is Skeleton Crew? He's not a famous comedian or an actor or anything. Like, there's no genuine reason why I should care. Yet here I am listening. I mean, listener numbers are good. Know what I mean? Across the board. I feel like that does make more sense for Comic Crypt and stuff like that. But that's because Comic Crypt's about comic books. And there's another person too. You get interaction. You get a dialogue between two people, and you get to listen in and, pick up tidbits of information that may be meaningful or valuable to you. But that's not this show. Maybe you came over from Comic Crypt. Maybe you're like, hey, I listen to Comic Crypt. I like these guys are fucking neato. And then you came over to the Skeleton Crew brand podcast, or what used to be Geekcore, and you came on and you're like, yeah, I can listen to Jay more. I enjoy his antics on Comic Crypt. Let's see what he has to say when he's alone, or when he's talking to like a local artist or one of his friends or somebody like that. That makes sense, because you already have like you're already pre-exposed to me through something that means something to you. I don't know if there's anybody who just happens across the Skeleton Crew brand podcast and just starts listening and is like, yeah, I like it. So I don't know. Maybe I should do something. What should the show be about, really? It's kind of about nothing. I've done commentary tracks on Bob Ross painting situations. Which I'm going to do another one. Yeah. I just thought of that right now. So after I'm done recording this, I'm not going to be live, and I'm going to do a Bob Ross commentary track for Patreons only. Patreones only will get the Bob Ross. It'll only be $1. At the $1 subscription level, you and I can watch Bob Ross together. Just put some earbuds, put me in your head, and yeah, we'll sync up a specific episode of Bob Ross on Netflix, and yeah, I'll provide a Bob Ross commentary, and that'll be the extra content for Patreones, because people fucking loved that Bob Ross commentary. Let me tell you. And then I may release it later on like the Skeleton Crew brand podcast feed, but way later. Like if I forget to do an episode or something, like years down the line, I may put a compilation together of like Bob Ross commentary tracks. For now, though, it's Patreones only. So go to patreon.com/Leal, Leal, Legacy, or just look up Skeleton Crew brand, and throw yourself into, I think it's called the Crew Club level of Patreones, and you'll get some Bob Ross commentary tracks. This is relevant for those of you on YouTube watching. Bob Ross commentary. I haven't opened this yet. This was a birthday gift from Chris Thunderbolt Wakefield of Talk Nerdy to Me. Talk Nerdy UK. Wow. My left ear just started like, I know why this happens too. So you ever wonder why, randomly, it happens to me frequently, and apparently it should happen to other people too, because I learned about it. So it's a thing. When you're just kind of sitting there, and then all of a sudden your ear goes like kind of like that really high pitched kind of tone, kind of like your ears ringing after a concert or something, but it hits out of nowhere. It's real light and subtle. Your ear kind of feels kind of clogged for a second, and then it like tones out. It's weird. You have little hairs. I'm looking into the microphone like that's the camera. You have little hairs in your ear, and when called cilia. Now, when one of the cilia falls over and hits the other cilia, it goes beep. It sends out that ring into your ear, and your ear gets all whoa. So there you go. That's what this podcast is about. Random shit Jay learned in sound theory class in film school. Film for audio is probably what it was called. I don't think it was called sound theory. Although I might have taken a sound theory class in college. Because I was doing like recording arts classes for a while, and then I was like, fuck this. So signal flow. Signal flow is when I was like, fuck this. Let's see. I hear rumblings upstairs, so I don't know if Bane and Tiffany are awake. They might be. If they are, she would text me, though, first. She usually sends me a text, and she's like, he's up. Oh, I can hear him. I can hear his little voice. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I get a text. I might have to jump off and get on dad duty again. So if that's the case, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeah, so patreon.com/Leal Legacy. Go there. Don't be square. And you can jump onto one of the 3 tiers of Patreones and support us that way, or go to skeletoncrewbrand.com. That is skeleton, CRUE brand.com, and check out our web store there. Got lots of cool shirts. Remember when I said I wanted to release 2 new designs a month when it came to shirts? Yeah, I failed. I only did 1 this month for March. So at least 1 new design a month. Aiming for 2, but you will always have at least 1. And this month was our Pit Crew shirt, which is a tribute to the greatest dog breed on the planet, the Pit Bull. So you can go check that out. It was molded after an image of my pitty. I got 2 pitties, but my older girl, Leia. So I probably can use the same image as like a Nova one too, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that takes us. We'll definitely do more Pit Bull oriented designs in the future, but for now, that's the one we got. So if you're a Pit Bull lover or know a Pit Bull lover, you can go to our website. You can also score this ish on Etsy. So you go to Etsy and look up Skeleton Crew brand or Leal Legacy, Leal Legacy, and check us out there. So Leal Legacy, I did a whole podcast on that back in the Geek Core days. You're like, why, Jay? That's not Skeleton Crew brand. Well, Skeleton Crew brand's my project and my addition to the Leal Legacy. I'm not going to be around forever. So be it a child or a grandchild that inevitably takes my place, they can carry the Leal Legacy on in their way, but hopefully we'll be able to keep it as like a centralized kind of company situation and just grow it through the generations, because I'm convinced by starting your own brand and like working for yourself and doing things your way is the only way anyone's going to be able to survive this world. So find a way to do things your way, and you'll have a much happier time in the future, because I'm convinced a lot of this shit's going to come crashing down around us. So if you are self-sufficient financially and you're happy with it, and you're putting passion before anything else, you'll be able to get ahead too. So that's the constant fight, man. There's that. There are those plugs. So we did that. So if I do have to hop off quickly, we already did that part. I know it's like in the middle of the episode, but whatever. I'm doing what I can, man. Until I don't have a toddler running around, it's going to be running and gunning. So I'm going to be pumping out episodes when I can and doing the best I can. But I'll keep you updated. I gotta get better at doing social media stuff. I hate it. I was really good at doing like keeping up with like personal social media and brand accounts and stuff like that. But now that like I do that for other people too, I hate it. Like I'm so sick of doing social media for other people that by the time I'm supposed to do it for myself, I'm just like, this is stupid. This is dumb. Nobody wants to see a picture that I take and put my goofy little cartoon face on. Although, I mean, it's great. It's necessary. It's a necessary evil that I need to get better at. There's a lot of things in this life that I need to get better at, and this is it. This is part of what this podcast is. This podcast is kind of just cheap therapy for myself. I use it as a time to acknowledge areas in my life that I can improve in. And hopefully those of you who listen will hold me accountable and make sure that I improve. If I fail, it's your fault. What's going on? Should we just like, I don't know. Okay, so let's brainstorm what this podcast should be. Should it change? Should this podcast not be what it is or and has been? Oh, that was loud. I also did a commentary track to Planet Earth 2. And then again, so doing it like with the live thing and archiving the video, doing the commentary tracks just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because there'll never be a video for that. Unless it's like an independent film and they say, hey, you can also upload the video and with the commentary. I don't know. So maybe I'll do all the commentary things that I was pumping out as Patreones. Right? I got to figure out how to upload video too to Patreon because I'm wondering, no, all that will just be audio probably because I'll just be like, look, you can find the video here and then just sync up, like hit play simultaneously and, I'll be able to provide commentary that way and keep that strictly for Patreones and maybe release them, like I said, if I forget to do a Skeleton Crew brand, like basic, shouldn't say basic, Skeleton Crew brand specific episode. I'm liking that idea. I'm enjoying that idea because I do very much enjoy this whole being able to like live stream the Skeleton Crew brand podcast. Ever since I started with my Skyrim live stream gameplay stuff, I've seen the value of constantly having things uploaded to YouTube and just it's brand building. I'm building a little Crewverse here. I'm into it. Also, I think I want to do like brainstorm podcasts too, where I just like think of ideas. And I think that'll be also Patreon specific, strictly because if you're able to hear that or watch it, because I could do those brainstorming ones on live. No, not live stream, but like archive video. Yeah, because I mean, if you are contributing to the growth of Skeleton Crew brand, I doubt you'll try to steal my ideas simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like if you're supporting the Leal legacy, I doubt you'll be one to steal from. I have been stolen from before, guys. Have I told you about this? So I'm really, and that's kind of another reason why I don't throw things up on social media a lot, because once upon a time in film school, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but there's a trailer and everything for it. I'll put the trailer on the website in the description for this episode so you can go see it and you know that I'm not lying about it. Once upon a time, I went to film school where I met my dear friend, Justin Connors, aka J-Con of 8 Prime Productions, maybe? I'm not entirely sure what they're calling that. See, that's the text I got. He's awake. So let me say, where are we? 45. I'm going to say, give me like 15 in the middle of recording. Remember when I said Tiffany kind of sucks at like acknowledging, oh, he's recording. Maybe I shouldn't go and say things to him. So, film school, J-Con, and then we had another friend named Brian Fuller. And we all went to film school at Full Sail University. And at the time, it wasn't a university yet, so it was just Full Sail. We had a documentary filmmaking class. And at this time, Connors and I had pretty much established, like, look, we're always going to work together here. Like, if you saw us walking down the street together, you wouldn't assume, like, oh, yeah, those guys make sense as friends. But really, we really do make sense as friends. Like, love Connors. Love Connors more than I love a lot of people on this planet. He's a really good dude, somebody that I can just easily relate to. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, circle of positivity. Only surround yourself with people who make you feel good, and life will be perfect. So he and I were working together constantly. And we had another friend named Brian Fuller who, he would in and out. Like, yeah, he'd team up with us on projects, maybe work some other people on a different one. So, Brian's a great dude too. So the three of us got together, teamed up on this documentary film class project, and I took the lead. And in taking the lead, I was like, all right, so documentary films. I don't want to do something like that's a hard one, because the key to a documentary film is to bait the hook with an idea that is fascinating to people, and it was something that they never thought about looking into themselves. I really feel like that's the key to a successful documentary, is providing really great content and information about a topic that everybody will be fascinated by, but they don't know it yet. Being in Florida, that's where Full Sail is, I had an opportunity to connect with somebody who worked at their, not just zoo, but like gator zoo, like specifically to swamp inhabitants, and those being crocodilian species and stuff like that. So there were a lot of alligators and crocodiles and caiman and venomous snakes and crazy shit like that. So I got the idea. I was like, okay, well, I know this girl that works at Gatorland. Maybe I can pitch it to her. Like, hey, I'm doing this project. Can we get in with you and just kind of interview some of your coworkers? And the idea was to do a documentary on alligator wrestlers. Because, I mean, come on. Even if you had never thought about the idea of alligator wrestling before in your life, hearing it triggers this whole like, oh, that sounds neat. I wonder what that's like. I wonder what that's about. What the fuck is gator wrestling? Wait, what? There's a lot of questions that come up, and they all they pique your interest and, whet your palate for something kind of weird, but at the same time, really admirable and brave and just fascinating, right? Okay, cool. So we went to Gatorland, did some shooting, interviewed some of the guys at the park who were, gator wrestlers and all that kind of stuff. Then we showed it to our class, and our teacher was like, wow, guys, class after class, I've seen a lot of documentary projects, and yeah, they're good. They're all pretty good. But you guys came up with something that can be chased. Like you came to the table with an idea that should go beyond this documentary class, and you guys should really kind of consider trying to make this something where you release it, like be it a short, be it a feature length, be it for festivals specifically. I don't know. Just he encouraged us to take it somewhere. So we did. We rented, I don't know, it wasn't really renting. We borrowed equipment from the school, talked to some of we borrowed equipment from the school, went back. And so we were going to shoot everything over again. We weren't going to use any of the content that we had gotten for the project, because we were like, all right, well, if we're going to do this for realsies, we really got to put some, because it was, when we did the project, we were just kind of like, all right, you wrestle alligators. Great. Come here. Let's see. Look around us in the immediate vicinity. Hey, that makes for a pretty cool backdrop. Booyah. Done. This way, we're like, okay, so let's get a list of the guys we want to talk to, who they are, what they do, where they came from. Let's set up a specific spot where we're going to consistently shoot with lights and all that. We're going to make it look good. Okay. First was guerrilla style, Now this is going to be a little less guerrilla style with some, production value, because we were taking equipment from our film school. Like, we were able to do this. And so while shooting at Gatorland, we got to talking to one of the Gator wrestlers, specifically, who ironically lives in San Diego now. For those of you who don't know, I'm from San Diego, so just met him in Florida, and now he lives in my home. His name is Marco, and I'm friends with him still on Facebook. That's how I know he works at the San Diego. I think he's at the San Diego Zoo. He might be at the Wild Animal Park. I don't know. I'm gonna go look it up though after this. Yeah, so he was our golden child. Like, he was so passionate about alligator handling that he would go to competitions. He knew all like the major players in the industry. He knew, I mean, this guy, I think in the time I've known him, he's been bitten by a caiman, and he has had a snake bite him on the eyeball. So needless to say, this guy's a badass. He put us in touch with two guys in South Florida, in Hollywood, Miami, around there. He introduced us to the legendary Gus One Bear. Yeah, Gus One Bear and his buddy, his partner, Cattail, Jonathan Cattail. And now these are legitimate like names given to them by the Seminole Indians in the area. Gus One Bear got his name. I don't know where Cattail got his name, so I'm not really entirely sure. That may just be his name. Gus One Bear, his last name is like Batista, maybe. Yeah, he got his name from the Seminole Indian tribe there because he was on their reservation at like a wildlife demonstration or something they were doing. And part of this was he had to interact with a brown bear, like a big ass brown bear. He went into the brown bear's cage or pen enclosure, and the thing attacked him. So this bear attacks this dude, and it's a bear. He's dead, right? There's not a real good likelihood like he's gonna come out of this in a real good condition. There was a point where the bear had Gus's head in its mouth. This dude's head was in a bear's mouth, and like just a superhero, a man of unimaginable patience and strength and just resolve, just put his hands in the bear's mouth and opened its jaws, just pulled them open and took his head out of it. Like this dude's head was crushing in this animal's mouth, and he had the wherewithal just to open the mouth, pull his head out, and get the fuck out of the cage, and then obviously go to the hospital and stitches and all that kind of shit. So he wears a bear tooth around his neck in memory of like, yeah, man, fucking bear had my head in its mouth. And that's not even like the craziest thing about him. The craziest fucking thing about him, I guess, I don't know. I can't tell you how many times this man has been bitten and chomped by animals. But Gus One Bear also was missing a thumb. Again, look, I don't know why I keep hitting this mic. I got to figure out how I'm sitting so differently than last time, because last time I didn't hit the mic once. Yeah, thumbs. Gus is missing a thumb, and apparently, maybe it was a caiman, maybe it was a crocodile. One of the two. Some big fucking dinosaur animal bit this guy's thumb off. Bit his thumb off to the point where it was like hanging by tendons, and like he has no thumb on that hand now. It might be using to do something previously, but they were like, I guess they weren't eager to make it blood and gutsy. But fuck it, the three dudes in their early 20s were like, yes, let's make this disgusting. And he's like, so how gnarly do you want to make this? We're like, as gnarly as possible. Why? What are you going to do to us? And he's like, well, I got the footage of when I lost my thumb. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, somebody was filming that whole thing. Like, you know, you see the bite, you see You see me pull my hand out. You see the thumb hanging by tendons and like muscle tissue and yuckiness. We're like, oh my God, like he owns the footage. Like we were gonna have footage of a legitimate and gruesome fucking alligator attack, or whatever I guess it might have been. I don't know, some giant aquatic lizard attack. Crocodilian. So we had stumbled across something phenomenal, and Gus took us under his wing and was just taking us from like just location to location to location to this one place where it's like, I don't know if they have these across America, but there are just like places in Florida specifically like this where it's like it's an attraction, kind of like a zoo, but it seems like they built a zoo kind of thing on top of an existing swamp as more like a preservation kind of situation, but they do charge admission and you come look at just a bunch of fucking alligators everywhere and like cranes and shit. So we went to one of these places down in Hollywood, Florida, and I saw some guy drive by, checked out my fence. So we were in Hollywood, Florida, and we went to this one of these like offshoot places, and nobody was really there. There were maybe like 3 people there that were not part of our crew. And Gus takes us into this like little pen, and this is where it started because it got intense after even this. Like it got to the point where this dude's like in the water, just like a fucking alligator, just like his eyes peeking above the surface. He comes up, would breathe a little, go back under, and just kind of like just crawl in the water up to an alligator and just like pick it up like a fucking baby. This guy's a madman. He took us to this one location and he had us go into this like enclosure with him and whatever. It's like maybe this like little pool of water, maybe 4 foot, wide. It was just like a little mouth of water. And at this point, we're just all pros. You know what I mean? Like I've been on the back of an alligator. We've all held alligators. Like we're it's old news. I mean, we're one of the boys at this point, right? So we go in this enclosure. We set a little tiny pool of water. We're like, all right, this is gonna be cute. We're gonna get some cool shots of like, Gus fucking juggling caiman or alligators or something, like just tossing them in the air like little babies or something. Don't juggle baby alligators. I mean, that's gonna be the title of this episode. Don't juggle baby alligators. So he takes us in this enclosure and we're just sitting there and he like kind of looks at us. He's like, you guys ready to see some shit? And we're like, yeah, man, this is it's a fucking another day of production. What do you mean? Yeah, we're going to see some stuff. Yeah. You get the little guy out. So he starts tapping the water. Taps the water a little bit more. Nothing's happening. Taps the water again. We're just kind of sitting there like, all right. Is it sleeping? Is it dead? What's going on? Taps the water again. And you just see the head, the size of like the length of a skateboard and the width of, oh shit, I don't know, man. What's like a 6-inch sub? So 6 inches across, maybe, I don't know, maybe a foot long, but it was like the most massive crocodilian head I have ever seen in my life. And we're just like, oh my God. And he goes into the pool a little more, picks up this monstrous dinosaur tail and pulls this like 10-foot beast out of this unimaginably small hole in like retrospect now. And this behemoth is between us and the only way out. And he's like, yeah, this one's attacked people before. We're like, what? Like, wait, huh? He's like, yeah, this one's attacked, others. And we're like, why are we here? We could have done this from the safety of behind the fence. Why are we in here with you? Yeah, so needless to say, we all peed our pants a little bit. So the aroma of urine on the drive back to Orlando from Hollywood was present. Yeah, but no, he pulled that thing out, like did his fucking Gator wrestling thing with it. And then, like I said, from there, it was all just like, look at the wonder that is Gus One Bear. He would go eyeball deep and then just pick up, cradling a fucking 5-foot alligator and just holding it in his arms. And yeah, the guy was a wonder. And Cattail, Jonathan Cattail was like right there with him too. Like it's all the same. It's all the same. And these guys are just, actually, no, it might have been Cattail that took us in the pen, if I'm remembering it incorrectly. Either way, one of these just heroes of man, the manliest of men, they take us on this adventure. So we're collecting all this awesome footage, and we have more than enough fucking footage to put out probably a documentary that would have set our careers in motion way, way long ago. So two things happened that prevented Swamp Stompers ever from really becoming a thing. And like I said, I'm going to put the trailer, I'm putting the trailer in the description for this episode. So go to skeletoncrewbrand.com and check out the trailer. One of the things that happened was, like a fool, not knowing the steps of production and getting things, picked up, I emailed Discovery Channel. I sent an email to Discovery Channel with our trailer and our pitch. Like, I just built this whole prospectus, I think is like the correct word, and never heard from them. So I just thought, hey, I sent an email on a whim into a black hole, whatever. Maybe if we can approach them with a finished product, they'll put it on TV or something like that, or like sell it in their stores. So wasn't disheartened. We continued to make the movie. While continuing to make the movie, obviously we were renting equipment and we were having to coordinate with Gus and make the trip to South Florida and like all this kind of stuff, and like just kind of carry the story, because we didn't really have an outline of a story that we were trying to tell. We were just collecting footage and talking to fantastic people. So in that time, J-Con landed another gig as an editor for a feature that was being shot by a Haitian director down there. I don't know. I only say he was a Haitian director because he was from Haiti. Yeah. that's just, don't know. Not really super relevant, but it adds to the story, you're able to, you're getting a better vibe of like where we were. So we start working with this dude. He just seems like a guy who came across some money and was like, I want to make a movie. It's kind of like The Room. It's like the Haitian version of The Room, but better produced, because this guy, really went to some effort to pick out some folks who like knew what they were doing when it came to shooting and production, all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, one J-Con, like we did a few days on set and did some camera operation, some lighting, just some grip work. We were just kind of in the trenches, like just getting some experience under our belts. Connors was storing all of this dude's footage on the same hard drive that we had Swamp Stompers on, because you got like a terabyte of space, like you can fit tons of shit on there. So he was like, I'm not gonna get like a separate hard drive for this shit. Let me just use the same one. Like our movie is on it, this guy's movie is on it, I'm editing both, it'll be fine. Yeah, right? Totally gonna be fine. Something happened, some sort of fallout happened between Nerlin, was his name, Nerlin, the Haitian director, and I think the movie, I don't know if you can find the trailer or if it ever was released or what. I gotta ask Connors, but you can find the movie and it was called I Love You Too. I think that was what it was called. The movie's called I Love You Too. And it wasn't I Love You Too, Too. It was I Love You, the number 2. And it wasn't a sequel. It's not, there was no I Love You 1. So that was the caliber of, folks we were working with here. That was the title of the movie. And the script was just as well done. Let me tell you, fine actors. Don't get me wrong. Like, there was some talent here. it just wasn't on the side of like where the story and came from. Anyhow, I digress. So something happened between Connors and Merlin, and Merlin, Nerlin, like negative, because it was a negative experience with Nerlin. Yeah, something happened between them, and J-Con never got his hard drive back. So I had some footage on my hard drive, but the bulk of it, like the coolest shit, was on J-Con's that I don't think even to this day that we ever got back. So needless to say, things were put on hiatus for a little while for us to graduate, finish school, and we're like, yeah, man, whatever. We'll get back to it. We're here in Florida. Like, we'll graduate, and then we'll be able to put 100% of our focus into making this movie. Okay, great, cool. Not a problem. Literally, like, almost a year to the day, I was watching TV. Or I was on YouTube, some sort of visual representation of this tragedy hit my face. Swamp People, or Swamp Men, I think it was, came out, was released. And wouldn't you know it, Gus One Bear and Jonathan Cattail were on it. And you can't blame them. You know what I mean? Can't blame them. But it's a little ironic that they were part of our prospectus that I sent to Discovery Channel. They were part of, my pitch in the footage, in the trailer. And they were on a Discovery Channel show called Swamp Men. Not Swamp Stompers. Swamp Men. So, was I ripped off by Discovery? I think so. Is there any evidence? Aside from me telling you the story, not really. So, not anything I could do. Except live in the understanding of don't throw your ideas out. Don't tell anyone who you are not 200% sure isn't going to steal from you. Don't give them any sort of insight into what you're doing, because it might be taken. Yeah, so go check out the trailer. It's on skeletoncrewbrand.com. I'll put it in the description for this, and maybe we'll get Jake on here and we can just reminisce. Maybe I'm going to reach out to Gus. I'm going to reach out to Gus One Bear and Jake and see if we can get One Bear on the podcast, because that'll be phenomenal. Maybe Cattail too. You know what? We're going to do a Swamp Stompers episode of the Skeleton Crew Brand podcast. I'm going to try to put the band back together and we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll be able to still do this, because what they put on TV wasn't as graphic or as epic as what we were aiming to do. Like, ours was basically a fucking grindhouse documentary about alligator wrestlers, and there were blood and guts and horror stories, and just, it was going to be far more intense than the theatrical drama that you get with a syndicated show. Anyhow, yeah, so go check out skeletoncrewbrand.com, check out our web store. If you listen to this episode, you know what's coming for the Patreones. So if you want extra fun fucking commentary content, go to the Patreon. I'm gonna try to do a Bob Ross commentary tonight. We'll see how well that goes. But if I don't get to that, I will 100% at least do a Skyrim live stream. I think we're on episode 40 of that one. So yeah, so go to my YouTube page, Rev J Leal, or the Skeleton Crew Brand website, or even the Skeleton Crew Brand YouTube. I think you can find all like this series on all of those outlets. But I'm doing a episodic playthrough of Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. I run around, I kill dragons, I fight vampires. Every second of gameplay with this character is being live streamed and archived on the website and YouTube and stuff. So go watch, catch up, and join me for the live streams where we have a lot of fun. I die from time to time in really embarrassing ways. Like, I felt really cool about myself one day. Kicked the shit out of a bunch of dudes that ambushed me, and I was like, hot shit, right? Walked off a cliff. I literally just walked off a cliff after feeling like such a badass. So those are the kind of things that happened on J. Leal Does Skyrim. That being said, guys, hit subscribe, leave a review if you same with YouTube. Hit the notification bell on YouTube to be notified anytime we do live or post another video to the YouTube pages, and share with your friends. So there we are. I'm gonna go and hang with my Screaming Boy Bane. So enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Adios. For those of you on YouTube, thanks for joining. You're the best. Hey, 2 of you. Thanks. You guys rule.